Attaque directe au centre. C'est la clé de la victoire.
The strategy of marching directly toward your opponent over open ground may seem ludicrous today. But the firearm technology of the period demanded close-quarter combat. The most commonly used firearm at Waterloo was the musket. A soldier aiming his musket at another man 100 meters away has about a 1 in 30 chance of hitting him. If his target is 50 meters away, his chances improve to 1 in 3. Napoleon's direct thrust up the Allied center is intended to break Wellington's army in half and cause it to collapse. The French advanced on the English line in column formation. Each French column consists of a block of men, 150 across, 24 deep, approximately 3,600 altogether. The sheer numbers of this approaching mass was meant to intimidate and terrify an enemy. The alternative to the French column formation was the British line. Essentially a long row of men, 2, sometimes 3 deep.
The line formation gives one major advantage over any other. You can bring all your guns to bear.
In a column, only the first 2 rows of soldiers can safely shoot their guns. In a line, every soldier can shoot, giving them a tremendous advantage in firepower. At 2 p.m., the British line awaits the advancing columns of Napoleon.
He was just going to punch straight up the middle, whereas normally he won his battles through manoeuvring on the flanks. This time, he just wanted to go straight up that road and flatten anything that stood in front of him. And he believed he could.
At the top of the ridge, the French column meets the English line with devastating results. The British line, with its superior firepower, stops the advancing column in its tracks.
Hold your line! Fire!
The French troops could not proceed any further. The British countercharge, with the support of the cavalry, forces Napoleon's troops back to their lines.
Well, sir, we brought the battle right to Bonaparte.
You act as if the battle is over, Uxbridge. Yet all I see is 2 brigades of horses destroyed and thousands of men dead. And our lines exactly where they were this morning.
The first frontal assault at Waterloo has left thousands of casualties, with nothing gained.
Nous sommes où? L'infanterie?
Nous sommes de retour.
De retour? Pourquoi de retour? Pourquoi? Le centre est la clé, Ney. Wellington est prêt à craquer. Nous, on n'est même pas capable de maintenir le centre. Cette ferme est à nous.
Napoleon realizes that he can't control the battlefield without first taking La Haye-Sainte.
Non, Votre Altesse.
Mais alors, prenez-la, à n'importe quel prix. Je ne veux pas vous revoir que lorsque le centre est hors de nos mains.
The Battle of Waterloo has been underway for 3 hours. The British line has held, but Wellington knows that nothing has been decided. The battle lines remain completely unchanged, and thousands lie dead. But the battle is about to turn.
Die Franzosen! Die Franzosen!
June 18th, 1815. Napoleon Bonaparte now stands poised to once again dominate Europe. His strategy is to take control of the center of the battlefield with a direct attack on the British position at La Haye-Sainte.
The most important salient was the one close to Wellington Center, and that was La Haye-Sainte.
The walled farmhouse is defended by the King's German Legion. They were Germans who had fled to England when Napoleon conquered their country in 1805. They have a lot to fight for. If Napoleon is defeated, they can return home. Whoever holds the farmhouse will have control over the all-important center of the battlefield. At 3 p.m., Napoleon orders 2 full brigades of infantry, 2,000 men, to take the farmhouse at all costs. Facing the Frenchmen are only 450 riflemen. The outnumbered soldiers do have one big advantage: superior firepower. This unit of the British Army carried rifles, not muskets. The rifled grooves inside the barrel spin the bullet, like a quarterback throwing a football, giving it greater range and superior accuracy. At approximately 3:20 p.m., 7 hours into the Battle of Waterloo, 2,000 French soldiers charged the small fortress.
Die Franzosen! Die Franzosen!
Die Franzosen kommen! Die Franzosen kommen!
Each time the walls are about to be breached, the outnumbered Allied riflemen somehow hold off the French. Near 4 p.m., the French sound a retreat. Over 400 of Napoleon's soldiers lay dead. The Allied troops suffered heavy casualties too. But they still held their ground.
It always requires more men to take and capture such a position than it does to hold it. The British training was hold until relieved, and if you didn't get relieved, you died in your spot, but you didn't abandon it.
During the assault on the walled chateau, the French artillery pounded the British front lines. The carnage from cannon fire was so great, Wellington ordered his troops to fall back behind the ridge overlooking the battle.
It appeared to Ney that the British were retreating.
What they were doing was just seeking some refuge behind the hill. So Ney was convinced that victory was his, destroy the fleeing British, and the day was theirs.
Standard operating procedure at the time was, if the enemy's retreating, release your cavalry.
Now, at approximately 4 p.m., Marshal Ney orders the French cavalry to assemble. In an incredible display of power, 12,000 French cavalrymen charged the British position. At 200 yards, canister shot from British guns tears into the French horsemen. The British infantry is about to face one of the largest cavalry charges in history. But they have a defense in place. The British formed infantry squares, a formation designed specifically to defend against a cavalry attack. At 4 p.m., the squares are put to the ultimate test.